Morning, teachers and classmates. We are the group number 1, and we are going to talk about the new forms of human trafficking and modern slavery in our society. What is modern slavery? Modern slavery is the condition whereby today a person is forced to work in subhuman conditions without being able to refuse due to coercion, threats, and abuse of power. Today, more than 45 million people live in this condition, of which 35% of the victims are in Asia and 71% of them are women and girls.
Slavery used to look like this, then it evolved into this, and today it looks like this. In fact, there are an estimated 45.8 million people living in modern slavery across 167 different countries. They fall into 3 general categories: children held in the commercial sex trade, adults held in the commercial sex trade, and any other laborer made to work through force, fraud, or coercion. The trafficking victim often looks like anybody else at work, in a mine, on a farm, in a factory. Many are lured by promises of a steady job in another country, only to have their passports confiscated when they arrive. However, many slaves work in their native countries, or even the cities where they were born.
Now we are going to tell about one of the most controversial forms of modern slavery, sexual exploitation. What is sexual exploitation? Slavery or sexual exploitation is the exploitation of women, children, and girls to practice prostitution and offer sexual service in exchange for money. Pornography and prostitution industries. Forced labor in the private sector is mainly concentrated in sexual exploitation and human trafficking. The pornography and prostitution industries concentrate the majority of women who are sexually exploited. In general, this illicit business is controlled by the mafias who obtain millionaire profits based on the sexual exploitation of women and children.
Victims of sexual exploitation. The International Labour Organization estimates that of the 24.9 million people who are victims of forced labor, around 4.8 million are victims of forced sexual exploitation, of which 99% are women.
Every year, around 12,000 Nepalese children, especially girls, are trafficked for commercial sexual exploitation within Nepal or in brothels in India and other countries. In South Africa, between 28,000 and 30,000 under the age of 18 years are trapped in prostitution, and close to the half of that number are between 10 and 14 years old.
In addition, 74% of women who are sexually exploited are also forced to leave their countries, and their aggressors keep them in a country other than the one where they were born.
The prospect of tourist cash lures thousands of children, some orphaned by HIV/AIDS, to Kenya's coastal resorts, where they end up destitute and vulnerable.
There are children who travel all the way to Mombasa and Malindi. Some of them have been lured about better opportunities, and they end up being sexually exploited. Then there are those children who've gone there by themselves. There are also children who come from within the coastal region, and their parents seem to tolerate this kind of practice.
Joyce is an orphan who was brought to Mombasa by a relative who promised her a job. She was 12 when she went to work as a prostitute. She's 14 now, HIV positive, and still working.
My auntie organized a client for me, and because she already checked the money, so I had to go. So it was very nasty, but I had to do it because I was sent inside there, the room. So it was painful, I was crying, but I had to do it.
While in Europe and Central Asia, trafficking for sexual exploitation is the main form, detected with the 66% of victims. In East Asia and the Pacific, it is 26%, and in the Middle East, and Africa it is 53%. Finally, in America, 48% of the victims of human trafficking are for sexual exploitation.
This form of modern slavery, not only one of the most violent towards human integrity, but also one of the longest lasting. On average, the victims were sexually exploited for just over 2 years until they managed to free themselves from such involuntary work.
Thanks for your attention.